Welcome, welcome, everyone. Are we ready for trivia? Let's see you start at the top. Carrie, welcome. Debbie, Rykart. Welcome, everyone. I will. Short nights. So we're going to do things a little bit different tonight than past nights. I'm not only going to read the trivia question to you, but you will see the trivia question on the screen and the options A, B, C, and D. So the question and the options are on the screen for every one of the 30 questions that you're going to see tonight. Now, because the way I set it up, I will not be able to see the actual comments right away while it's on the screen. I have to toggle back and forth the way I have it set up. But everyone's going to see the question on your screen itself. All right? I hope we are all doing well. It is hotter than hell here where I am. 90. You got the 96 degree today, but the part that's really killing me today is the humidity. It's like, everything is just so sticky. You just can't get cool. Can you eat your supper and play? Most certainly can. Most certainly can. Hello, Cement Shoes. Retired Sergeant Melinda, welcome. Inner peas. That's hot, yeah. The humidity, 96 degrees with the humidity, and I don't know what the index was for the humidity, but it's like you just can't you can't catch your breath, and you're just so sticky, and it's like doesn't matter how much we turn up the AC in the house or here in the studio, nothing's quite enough today. So let's go ahead and jump into it so you can see what the how it's going to appear on your screen. There is the first question, the first trivia question. So it says number 1, tells you the number of the question. In Michigan, it is illegal to chain what to a tree or fire hydrant? A cat, B, a dog, or C, an alligator, or D, a horse. So that's how the questions will all appear just like this across the screen. And the options are right there along with the question. Welcome, Brooks. So there's the question. What in the state of Michigan is, and the first couple, I think the first 5 questions are pretty simple questions. They're state questions. So, well, they're really general questions. So, RRH, welcome. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a great week and weekend. Retired Sergeant Melinda is going with DDD. And, of course, I have the answer key in front of me. Sorry. In the state of Michigan, what is illegal to chain to a tree or fire hydrant? My final guess? Answer. I'm going to copy off you since I have no idea. LOL. D. All right. The correct, it will not show you what the correct answer is on the screen. I have to tell you what the correct answer is. So for question number 1, the correct answer for what is it illegal to chain to either a tree or fire hydrant in the state of Michigan, the correct answer is C, an alligator. I'm sorry, everybody, but it's illegal to chain an alligator to a tree or a fire hydrant in the state of Michigan. Hi, Tina. Welcome. I hope you had a great week. This is the first question, and as you see on the screen, the correct answer was C, alligator. Gianna Marie, easily distracted. Welcome. All right. Now we are moving on to question number 2. And each and every one of them will tell you, the first thing it tells you is it'll tell you the actual number of the question, and then the number, and then the question, and then the possible answers to each and every one. So question number 2. In Taiwan, 1/3 of all funerals include which of the following? A tax collector, B, a stripper, C, a cage of cats, or D, a cage of birds. Welcome, Sam. Hi, everyone. I'm here from British Columbia, Canada. Alligators in Michigan. Apparently, it's illegal to chain them to a tree or a fire hydrant. Carrie. Angel Roth, welcome. Is it Roth or Ruth? Ruth? Well, welcome. Either way, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. In Taiwan, 1/3 of all funerals include which of the following? Tax collector, a stripper, a cage of cats, or a cage of birds? What could that 1/3 of all funerals have? Retired Sergeant Melinda is going with birds and the tax man. Final answer for 500, Alex. Well, it's actually not Alex anymore. Now it's what? Mr. Rogers. Wouldn't it be? Because Aaron Rodgers is doing it. Jeopardy. Carrie Ludwig is going with a cage of cats. Angel Ruth is going with A and B. Tax collector and strippers. Taxman. 4-1. Retired Sergeant Melinda. 4-1 now. I highly doubt I show up at 1/3 of all funerals in Taiwan. Inner peas. Only a third? A corpse? Yeah. I'm betting it's probably a larger percentage than just that. Congratulations on your new format. Well, Brooks, doing it this way with it on the screen, it just made sense to me that I've been trying to play around with how to do the screen share and how to actually get the questions on the screen. I actually thought about doing 2 separate cameras, one showing where I could actually display from a computer, but this way was so much easier. I was like, I'm making it overcomplicated even for myself. This was easy peasy to do. All right. Final answer, 4-1 for 1,000. All right. In Taiwan, 1/3 of all funerals include which of the following? The correct answer is B, as in boy, a stripper. A stripper. 1/3 of all Taiwanese funerals include a stripper. Okie dokie. Welcome. I'm gonna go with C. I like it on screen, Will. So better for you. Yeah, but I don't have to repeat it so much, and people don't know what maybe they don't know what number we're on. We're here. It's going to tell you the answer, the question, what number question we're on, and everything. I have them all written down still. I'm still going to do it this way because I have to have the answer key, to them all. But this seems to work this way better. I hope everyone enjoys it this way. All right, next question. Question number 3. In the Middle Ages, after a wedding, it was custom to throw what at the newlyweds? A, rice, B, bread, C, eggs, or D, straw? What was common to throw at, The couple after a wedding. Did it add a caption feature, Brooks? No. This is they've always had this feature there. It's for making banners, so you can either scroll them across. I can have it scrolled across, or I can make it stationary like this. And as long as you stay underneath 200 characters, everybody could do this if they're using StreamYard. I had started off by making each and every one of them in a Word program, and then I was going to try to upload them or in a file or share them through the screen. And I was like, I know I'm working too hard at this. There's got to be an easier way. I'm sure that they've thought of this themselves, and they did. So the option was always there. I just had to put the 2 and 2 together to say, look, I can make this easier on myself and aid to the actual quality of the stream. Elaine Green, welcome. I like that you're keeping the question on the screen. Well, thank you. Spaghetti Nona, see? In the Middle Ages, after a wedding, it was custom to throw what to newlyweds. Just going with C. We got a couple people going with C, D's, some B's. All right, for question 3. In the Middle Ages, it was custom to throw what at the newlyweds after they got married? The correct answer is C, eggs. They used to throw eggs in the Middle Ages at a couple, and it was the egg was actually considered a sign of fertility. I don't know what the connection there is. I mean, it's obviously an egg. We get that part of it, but that's according to the trivia guide where I got that one from. It was a sign of fertility. All right, here we go for number 4. Going back to an individual state for this one. In Knoxville, Tennessee, it is illegal to that should say lasso, not also. Lasso a fish. It is illegal in Illinois to lasso a fish. What is the penalty for doing this crime? 5 days in jail. B, 100 days in jail. C, 1 day in jail and a $500 fine. Or D, 2 days in jail and a $50 fine. What is the penalty for lasso, not also, lasso? Like our Western lasso, like they would lasso a steer. That also. That's obviously a typo from me. All right, we're on question 4. We already have a typo. We need to get you a device so you can push clapping and bonkers buttons. I have an FX mixer over here. I'm sorry I'm out of frame from it. I'm just looking to see what the sound effect options are on it. No, I don't have either one, like a bonkers or clapping on there. I can distort the voice, or I can do all kinds of things like that. I'm gonna move this camera down a little bit. There. You can also lasso a fish, slippery little suckers, right? I like this. You can lasso a fish. I like to see someone lasso a fish, right? That's on the books, though, in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's illegal to lasso a fish. It's that book, Billy Bob, How to Rope a Fish. My superstar status for how hard it would be to lasso a fish. They do in Texas. Retired Sergeant Melinda, they lasso fish in Texas. I mean, the people who fish for for catfish, they call it noodling. They get into the river itself and they stick their hands into the mouth of the catfish, because it builds its home on the banks of the river, and they stick their arm and hand into it. So then the fish chomps down on their arm, and then they pull the whole fish out that way. That's called noodling. That's real. So you never know. Maybe there is somebody throws a lasso out and it sits in the water, and they wait for the fish to come by, and then they cinch it up. I don't know. Bullfish? Who the hell would be lassoing fish? I don't know. Don't have the answer to that one, Carrie, but I'm sure there's probably people out there. There's probably some device that we're just not thinking of that aids with a lasso to catch fish. I don't know. Maybe it's got like the circle and the rope is around. It's got barbs or something, and you cinch it up. That's lassoing it, basically, right? All right. Well, the correct answer to this one is D, as in dog. 2 days in jail and a $50 fine. D, as in dog, is the correct answer for this one. All right. This is the last. I think this is the last one where it's actually. No, there's 2 more left that are about state laws. Number 5, what activity is illegal on Sundays in all of the state of Missouri? What is illegal on Sundays in the entire state of Missouri? The options are A, gambling, B, trivia, C, hopscotch, or D, having sex. What activity is illegal in the entire state of Missouri on Sunday? Gambling, but it's probably hopscotch. I wish lawn mowing was illegal on Sundays. Oh, so do I. I live in a homeowners. We have a homeowners association where we live, and they mow the front and side yards, of every single home. But you're responsible if you have grass in your backyard, you're responsible for mowing that. You can either hire the same company that mows the front and side yards of every home, or you can hire another company, or you can do it yourself. And they come by on Mondays, and they do it on Mondays. And I think they start at like 11, and they're usually done. They do section by section. At least my section, where we live, they do on Mondays. But I inevitably, my neighbor is always doing it on either Sundays or he's doing it on Wednesdays. Like really early in the morning. Drives me nuts. Don't know, short nice. Which activity is illegal to do on Sunday in the state of Missouri? Don't know. The correct answer is C. It is illegal to play the game of hopscotch on Sundays in the state of Missouri. The entire state. It is a statewide, it's not like an individual city ban. It is a statewide ban on the game of hopscotch on Sundays. Carol M is going with A. The correct answer is C, as in cat. It is illegal to play the game of hopscotch on Sundays in the state of Missouri. Reichart, you're 0 for 5. I'm sorry, buddy. Well, maybe you'll get the next one. Hopefully we can make a turnaround here. All right, next one. Question number 6. In Washington State, a concealed weapon must be under what size? 9 inches, B, 6 feet, C, 14 inches, or D, 12 feet. And before I get any smart Alex who want to guess that D, the state, we're looking for what the actual state law says. Now you could go with D, and well, everything's underneath 12 feet there. But there, it actually says one specific thing. And ladies and gentlemen, this is actually comes up on the actual hunting. It's on the actual Washington State hunting website, and it is there for the concealed carry permit. If you take a concealed carry permit class, but you don't need to take it in Washington State. You just have to pass, background check to be able to conceal carry. I live in Washington State. Fingerprints, background check, concealed carry. You can open carry too in this state. I hear that's how Charles Manson embarked on his life of crime. What's that? Lassoing fish. Charlie spent most of his adult life in one prisoner's jail over and over again. Inches, huh? Yep. This is an actual real question. The thing that comes up on the state hunting website, the concealed carry. It's for the rules and regulations. We're looking for the exact answer that it says on the actual state website and the information for concealed carry. 14 inches used to live in Washington State, but never carried a gun. Before Charlie died, he repented. Oopsie. D. Angel's going with D for $40. Sam's going with B. This is a concealed carry. You think that how could you have something 11 feet, 9 inches and be a concealed carry? 14 inches, all right, that's underneath a foot and a half. Under 6 feet, that's the size of a full-grown adult. 9 inches, that's that's basically around the size of a derringer. But DDD for the $1 million ticket. In Washington State, how for a concealed weapon must be underneath what size? The correct answer is B as in boy. It actually spells out that the concealed carry must be under 6 feet. Under 6 feet. It's on the state concealed carry website information, and it's also on the hunting rules and regulations. Now, this is totally off the the entire thing. In Washington State, we actually more of the west side of the state than the east side. Obviously, who passed this law. But if you're out hunting, say your husband and you are out hunting, and you go step over a fence or a log or something, and you hand your rifle over to your husband or something to hold on to while you climb over either the wooden fence or the obstacle, the tree or whatever, you have to fill out paperwork in this state. And I'm not kidding. You have to fill out what's called a temporary transfer of ownership paperwork to actually hand that rifle over to your husband or somebody else, or just go ahead and climb over it anyways with a loaded gun. That's just how dumb this state is with some of the laws. That's an actual law on the books. You have to fill out what's called a temporary ownership transfer papers. If you want to step over a log while you're out hunting, or over an obstacle, or anytime you hand it to somebody else to hold on to, you have to fill out that paper. Right, Cart? You're 0 for 6. Oh, look at maybe the next one. Maybe the next one is a change here. You know anything about animated cartoons, right, Cart? Well, maybe you'll get this one. Question number 7. What animated series did Perry Mason first appear on? Perry Mason. For those who may not be old enough to remember, Perry Mason was an attorney on a TV show called The Perry Mason Show. But it was a well-loved show. I don't remember the years that it ran, but I mean, I never saw it in color, so obviously it was always in black and white, at least what I've ever seen. Is it due to accidental hunting accidents? No, I wish it was, retired Sergeant Melinda. It's not. It's people who've never been hunting before in their lives, who would never understand how somebody actually, may hunt, with more than one person. If I have and that goes for, say, I'm out hunting and I leave a weapon that maybe might be loaded, even if it has a safety on it, shotgun. I might be out bird hunting with my buddy. If I leave that in the vehicle, get out of the vehicle and go into a store, I think that it says there's something like 15 feet. If I'm within 15 feet, I don't have to. But if I was to go into a store, I would have to fill out that paper, transfer of, because I'm not in a reasonable possession of the item. And the reason why I use the analogy of a log or a fence is because it actually spells that out, that it's not reasonable that you would be in possession of the item because you can't get to it in a reasonable manner, because you're actually trying to physically do something else. It's dumb. It is crazy. And if you can tell, the entire statute was rich, all these, the gun laws that were written into place were written by people who've never owned firearms. They've never used a firearm, and restrictions on how many rounds of ammunition can you take to a private range. We have laws on that now. Why would it matter? I'm not shooting people, I'm shooting targets. But that's besides the point. Well, where did Perry Mason first appear? A, Schoolhouse Rock, B, The Family Guy, C, The Simpsons, or D, The Flintstones? 1950s. Old black and white TV lawyer, cement shoes. Yeah, Perry Mason. Oh, hell. Retired Sergeant Melinda. That's where everybody's moving. At least everybody I know that, well, a lot of channels that I know that are YouTubers, people who are creators and stuff like that, are all moving to Texas. They're moving to the San Antonio area or Austin area. I mean, lot of people have left completely. And there's also some who've left YouTube. Texas, everything's better and bigger in Texas, isn't it? Most famous criminal defense attorney on television, Sam Costa. I'm going back home to Texas, Debbie. Glowworm, welcome. I hope you had a wonderful week, Glowworm. Spaghetti Nona, several I watch have moved to Houston. Well, I say Matt with Demolition Ranch. He's in Texas. Joe Rogan just moved from California to Texas. Mike the Cop is in Texas. Donut Operator is in Texas. Quite a few have moved there. DD36, hi. 411. Hey there, Angel Roth and A and chat. Tons of moving out of California. I can understand why everybody, the taxes and the property costs and everything else to live and survive in California. A lot of people don't like what's going on there. But where did Perry Mason first appear? The correct answer is D, as in dog, the Flintstones. He appeared on an episode of the Flintstones. Well, did you get it right, Reichart? D. D as in dog, the Flintstones. Arsha, hi, Will. I'm in the hospital. I had part of my left foot amputated. Say a prayer. I get better soon. Oh, I will, Marsha. I'm sorry about that. I'm really sorry about that. I hope you make a full recovery soon, sweetheart. First one tonight out of 175. All right, question 8. New York City. New York City? It is still illegal to do what with a stranger? It is still illegal to do what with a stranger? Talk to them in an elevator? B, gamble? C, have a drink of water? Or D, get married? What is it still illegal to do in New York City with a stranger? Oh, thank you, Gianna Marie. Nookie? But you notice it actually says, get married. Doesn't say anything about, you can't, hook up with, and have a one-night stand. You just can't marry them. What is it still illegal to do with a stranger in New York City? Can I use my ring a friend duty on? I don't know if Duty Ron would know this one. It's an old blue law, but it's still on the books. If you can call Duty Ron up, go right ahead. Stranger danger, Reichard. Well, I like how the questions show up on the screen. Well, good, Stardust. I'm glad you enjoy it. I've been playing around with it, trying to figure out how to do it for a while, and I finally, last weekend I excuse me. I finally made the decision to do it, and it took me some time to figure out how was going to be the easiest and the way to do it and to actually set it up. Super easy to do. I actually way overthought it at first, but Monachito, welcome. I hope you had a wonderful week and weekend. Monachito is going with D. Get married. You can't marry a stranger, is Monachito's guess. You're going with D's answer, D. I'm going to text him now. All right. I'll give you a couple minutes to see if duty on. What time is it in New York right now? What, 10:30 at night? Because they're 3 hours here. I always screw this up. I'm not joking. My sister and my family, they all live in Wisconsin and Minnesota. And every time I need to call them or return their call, I always forget, is it 3 hours ahead of me or 3 hours behind me? And I'm trying to figure out what the timeline is in my head. For the strangest reason, and I'm not joking, I cannot remember if it's 3 hours ahead or 3 hours behind. I think it's 3 hours behind. Maybe it's only 4 o'clock there, not 10 o'clock. 10:36 p.m. from the West Coast to the East Coast. All right. We shouldn't marry those we know. Never mind a stranger. Thanks for your efforts, Will. It's a big help to see the questions and answers. So good. I'm glad you enjoy it. I hope this makes it a lot easier for a lot of people to be able to see the questions. In New York City, it is illegal to do what with a stranger? Yeah, spaghetti nut. I just never can. I can never get it in my head. I actually sit when I do it, when I have to call my sisters or my family back, or I go to call them. I sit down, with my phone, and I'm like, okay. I look it up, time, and I actually put it into Google for the question. I phrase it in the form of a question. What time is it currently right now in, and then their location? Because I can never keep it right in my mind. I don't know why. It just will not stick in there. I probably have done it, I don't know, 50 times in the last 2 years. When I call in, back to them. I chat with them more on Zoom, especially during this COVID, during the last year. That was a lot easier. Finally got my sisters back home who are not very tech savvy, but they finally got into doing Zoom, which makes it a lot easier. Hey, Shay, welcome. Gamble, final answer. Kill the sunrise in the east, so their day begins earlier than us. New York needs to fall off the map, Carol. I like New York. I've been there quite a few times. I've never had a bad experience in New York. It's a heck of a lot more cleaned up than it used to be, especially like Times Square and the areas around there. I mean, back in the 80s, you go to Times Square, you're most likely to catch an STD from just walking down the sidewalk. And now it's, all the strip bars and nude clubs they're all gone from Times Square. And they've done a huge turnaround. It's a lot cleaner. It's not as filthy as it used to be. That's just going from the 80s to the 90s, and then, the early part of the 2000s. Last time I was there was, 2013. Last time I was there, but it's made a heck of a difference. All right. What is it illegal to do with a stranger in New York City? The correct answer is A. It is against the law to talk with a stranger in an elevator. Now, I wish that was the law everywhere. Inevitably, every time I get on an elevator, there's always someone who wants to make small talk with me. You know, like not only what floor am I going to, but they want to like, oh, how's your day going? And it's usually someone weird and creepy who wants to ask the question. The people in New York have been through the most devastating experience in the country since 2000s. Yeah, don't forget, that's 9/11, you know. Wasn't easy to live through either. Well, I think I am, Carrie, for the most part. But you know, I like to talk to people. It's just, you know, if I'm enclosed in a metal box with them, you know, and I'm going in an elevator, usually it's business related. You know, I'm not going up in an elevator for sightseeing. I mean, you can go up in elevator, you know, in some places to, you know, look over the city view. I've never seen the reason to, but you can. People in elevators play hopscotch. All right, let's see here. Next question. We are on question number 9. Question number 9. In Alexander, Minnesota, if a wife asks a husband or boyfriend to do what before sex, he must by law. Yes, ladies. If a woman, a wife in Minnesota, in Alexander, Minnesota, asks a husband or boyfriend to do this before sex, he must do it by law. A, brush his teeth. B, take a bath. C, go shopping. Or D, let the dogs out. What must he do by law? You don't talk to people in elevators either, Aileen? It happens to every time I get in an elevator, it's always something creepy. Like my friend is a district court judge, and every time I go, sometimes I stop by to see him, and we have lunch together. And I have to ride the elevator up to his floor. And the same building, the FBI, and there's a couple other offices, governmental offices. The Department of Forestry is in that building. They're government, entities that are in that building, different businesses. But there's always someone weird in the elevator. Every time I get on, they're like, and I have to go up to the 3rd floor. I mean, I guess I could take the stairs, but I take the elevator, up to the 3rd floor. And there's always somebody who's getting on, and as soon as you get on, they're like, "What floor are you going to?" You tell them 3 or whatever, and somebody else will say 2. And then they always want to ask me a question, or they want to talk to me. And I'm like, but I'm kind of creeped out about it in the first place. I'm going to go see my friend who just happens to be a district court judge. But at the same time, I'm like, don't want to really talk about it too much, where I'm going or what I'm doing. In Alexander, Minnesota, if a wife asks a husband or boyfriend to do what before sex, he must do this by law. A, brush his teeth. B, take a bath. Or C, go shopping. Or D, let the dogs out. Take a bath and brush his teeth before the dogs out. After you get back from shopping. I be me. Welcome. I like that name. I be me. That's cute. My mom used to have a license plate for her. She had a Pontiac Trans Am, and it said OICU. OICU. It was because she got so many speeding tickets in it. She got it for the police Didn't work, but they always thought it was cute. I don't like being in confined areas with strangers. I don't either. That's not one of my particular, the things that I like to do either, retired Sergeant Melinda. All right. Question number 9. In Alexander, Minnesota, if a wife asks a husband or boyfriend to do this before sex, he must by law. The correct answer for that is, where is it? No, number 9 is A, brush his teeth. Number 9 is brush his teeth. A. Do men take baths? I do sometimes, Debbie. I mean, most of the time I take a shower, but when we bought this house, I had the bathroom remodeled, and I had one of those jacuzzi tubs put in for my wife, and it actually feels really nice to sit there with all the jets. I think there's 4, 8, 10 jets in it, so it feels really good. You get a nice hot bath, get those jets going. Feels good. Cement shoes, you got one right. That's a miracle. Yeah, Sam, that's just what the law is on the books. That he must brush his teeth. If his wife or girlfriend asks him to do this before sex, he must by law. He must have, clean his teeth. He must clean his teeth if she asks him to. Husbands, a bubble bath, candles, and his rubber ducky. I get rubber duckies in there. They're my sons. Excuse me. My son has a whole bunch of the rubber duckies. There's mommy duck and daddy duck, and then little baby ducks from when he takes his splishy splashies or bubbles. He likes to call his bath time bubble time. My son's kind of weird though. He takes it's something that's kind of like more of like a cross between a bubble bath and a shower. He wants just a little bit of water in there so he can play with his toys, but he wants the shower head on so it's spraying down on him like rain. I can't call the teeth police, right? All right. Oh, I forgot to put the next question up. All right. Aileen is the next one. What did Aileen Wuornos pose as to lure 7 men to their death? What did she pose as? A, a stranded motorist, B, a hooker, C, a school teacher, or D, a YouTube creator? What did Aileen pose as? My old house had a clawfoot old school bathtub. I would say until I used all the hot water, way better than plain old shower. That's what my wife wanted. She always loved the clawfoot tubs, but they're kind of impractical, especially if you have a child. I mean, maybe someday we'll renovate one of the bathrooms in our house and put one in. Do they sell Mr. Bubbles? I don't know if they still sell Mr. Bubbles. I would assume they do. We buy this this bubble bath for my son. It's a fragrant free, organic, and it's for sensitive skin. We get it at the health food store. I don't ask me what the brand of it is because I do not know. I just know what the container looks like. It comes in a pretty good sized container. It's about the size of one of these, but it's got like a little cap in the middle at the top. But it's about the size of a container of Clorox wipes. Menachito says, assuming men have teeth. This is a great law. So Deb says they do sell Mr. Bubble still. Yeah, I just don't. We don't buy it. We buy that stuff that's it's more for the because it's not made with any dye or any what's that dye or perfume, and it's it's for sensitive skin because our son has a tendency to break out from certain fragrances, and soaps. So his doctor said it's something he'll grow out of, most likely, but as he gets older. But for right now, we have to kind of watch what kind of soap he uses to wash his hands with, and toothpaste and stuff like that. But a lot of people guessed B on that one. What did she do to lure 7 men to their death? Finland is a beautiful country. I wish my health accommodated travel. Would love to see it. Detergent free. Yeah, the bubble bath. It's definitely. I think it's a pretty small company. It makes. I think they only make like two or three different items. They make shampoo. They make bubble bath, and then they make a bar soap. And I can't remember. I can picture the label, but I can't remember the name, if the name of the company's on it. So the answer to question 10 is B, as in boy. If you guessed prostitute, you got that one right. It's been a while since I caught a full 1-1 live. Hey guys, welcome. I hope you had a wonderful week and weekend. Nicole, was it? Oh, there's Moments in Trading. Good evening, Moments in Trading. I hope you had a wonderful week. I'm sorry, I was scrolling up there trying to make sure I didn't miss anybody. I would love to live in no crime murders. Moments in Trading. Dr. Teal's. That sounds familiar. It might be something like Dr. Teal's, because the toothpaste that we buy them it's got a dirty old hippie on it. At least that's what my mother-in-law calls it. The logo. Is that Dr. Bonds? But that's what we use for his toothpaste is. He doesn't have any saccharin or any artificial sweeteners in it. Dr. Teal sounds amazing. Sounds familiar though. Or maybe I might be thinking of something else that my wife buys that's Dr. Teal's. Dr. Tom's. That's it. Retired Sergeant Melinda, thank you. Dr. Tom's. That's what kind of toothpaste he uses. All right. Next question. Question 11. Kenneth Bianchi was known as A, the Happy Killer, B, the Green River Killer, C, the Hillside Rapist, or D, the Hillside Strangler. Kenneth Bianchi was known as what? Hey, Pretty Wicked. Welcome. I hope you had a great weekend. Gayla Denson, welcome. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, Gayla. Where is my... Oh. I'm going to have to go to... All right, hold on. I got to move the camera again. My silly self. There we go. little bit now. See, that's better. Oh, cool. You can still see the question even when I turn the camera off. All right, I'm still here, but you just cannot see me. Do I need to change my answer, y'all? Retired Sergeant Melinda? I don't know what your answer was. Gayla, I'm doing great. I had a great weekend. Pretty much just stayed home and try to get some of the things on my what I call my honey to-do list. It's the list of things around the house that I need to get accomplished. I started working on getting some more of those crossed off the list. He killed with his cousin, Angelo. I get all them serial killers confused, except Ted Bundy. My dad was lead homicide detective in a neighboring county. Was he? Ooh. What, in Florida or where or what? Washington State? I never asked that. Somebody else was telling me that they either knew one of the detectives or was also connected somehow to the Ted Bundy case. Us to retired. Pasco County. There's a city in Washington State that's called Pasco. It's spelled the same way, Pasco. It's not too far from me. I bought the book on the Hillside Strangler back in the 1980s. So Kenneth Bianchi was known as, the correct answer is D as in dog. Green River Killer was not Kenneth Bianchi. Was not him. My dad will be on a couple of podcasts, YouTubers discussing the case. Oh, will he? Let me know which one. I'd love to watch it. Maybe we can get him on Duty Ron's show on channel. Get him on with Duty Ron. I'm sure the two of them would have a lot to in common. All right, next question. Question 12. John Wayne Gacy ate dinner at the Small Businessman of the Year award show with who? A, Mia Zapata, B, Nancy Reagan, C, Rosalind Carter, or D, Barbara Bush. John Wayne Gacy ate dinner with who? And I'll tell you right now, don't bother guessing A. Mia Zapata was a friend of mine who was murdered in Seattle. She was the lead singer of a band called The Gits. She was murdered by a cab driver. Too blurry when you're smoking. When I turn the camera off, the question is blurry. Oh, I'm sorry. It's good to know. Thank you for letting me know. Carter, who is that, y'all? Well, okay, see. Mia Zapata was a singer, friend of mine, who was murdered. B, Nancy Reagan, that's Ronald Reagan's wife. Rosalind Carter is Jimmy Carter's wife. Barbara Bush is, well, Bush Sr.'s wife. Close your eyes. It's still blurry. Retired Sergeant Melinda. Can you hear him? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Did I spell it wrong? Little bit of Sandra, and welcome, Little Bit of Sandra. I hope you had a terrific weekend. If after the stream, if you want, you can actually Google this question, and you can see photographs that you can find on Google Images. The images themselves are owned by Getty Images and Catalog. They're actually owned by them. No one can use them without paying for the rights to them. You have to pay a royalty to them to actually use the photographs. They snag up a lot of photographs for their own collection, but you can actually see them though on Getty Images though. The answer to this one. Yep, it was the 1970s. It most definitely was. Pogo made me proud to be a Republican. Well, that is true. John Wayne Gacy was very active in the Democratic Party, in his jurisdiction and state. He was actually he had an actual position with the Democratic Party, like a pollster or something like that for the Democratic Party. Mo Beans, New Jersey, or NJ. Welcome to the stream. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. Pogo's a no-go. All right, the correct answer is C, as in cat, Rosalind Carter. You can find the images of John Wayne Gacy, all dressed up in a suit and tie, standing next to her, and she was wearing, I believe, a white and blue dress. If you can see the color images, or there's a lot of black and white photos out there as well of it, but it was actually done in color. But he was photographed with Rosalind Carter. He ate dinner. There was actually 3 couples at the round table where he sat and ate his dinner. And John Wayne Gacy was with his wife at this dinner. All right, next one. Question number 13. The first victim of the Green River Killer was discovered when 2 boys were riding their bikes. When was this? A, August of 1979. B, July of 1982. C, June of 1985. Or D, April of 1981. When was the first victim of the Green River Killer discovered by 2 boys riding their bikes? So far, you've only gotten the stripper question right. I can't believe to this day that They cuffed Gacy with his hands in front of him, so he could hold his trembling hands in front of his face. That was it wasn't in a lot of places. You know, it wasn't a standard procedure to handcuff someone with their hands behind their back. And they used to handcuff them in the front, and then if they gave them a coat, they could hold their coat over their hands in front of them. I've read between the dates in answers like in college. The Green River killer's first victim was discovered by two boys riding their bikes. What time? When did it take place? I said D, but I'm totally guessing. Caroline says he was totally gross. He was gross. You don't know the Green River Killer? I'm trying to see where the book is. Nope, it's not up there. There it is. Bad Trick: The Hunt for Spokane's Serial Killer. There's a picture of him right there on the cover. That's the Green River Killer. It's a good book. This is written by Bill Moreland and Jeanette White. Very good book. All right, Green River Killer. Not sure why it's blurry. Obviously, it wasn't because you were smoking. I hope that's not affecting your camera or the feed. Well, maybe refresh the page. I don't know. Blurry Will. Did he say 1979? Pretty Wicked. The answer, you should see the answer and the question on the screen now. So this is the way that all the trivia Sundays are going to work from now on. You will see what number of the question we are on. Then you will see the question itself, and then all of the options. So read the question again. This is question number 13. The first victim of the Green River Killer was discovered when two boys were riding their bikes. When was this? A, August 1979, B, July 1982, C, June 1985, or D, April of 1981. Carrie's going with July 1982. Wendy is going, a little bit of Sandra is going with 1982. Quite a few people are going with B. B seems to be a popular answer. Gary would go back to the remains. Oh, yeah, he did. He most certainly did. Every single one of them. Getting ready to head off to WSU in 1982. I'm going to be in the Palouse region, Carrie. I'm going to be up there in August. I'm going to be playing golf at Palouse Ridge, the golf course there in Pullman. playing in a golf tournament for a charity event. Oh, you're spreading dreadlocks? That's cool. Well, but now you can look at the screen and you can see the question from here on out. Every Sunday will be like this. You can just look at the screen and the question is right there. You're so jealous. Yeah, we have to stay in Moscow because there's going to be so many other things. There's other events that are going on in August there. So we went to go book our stay, and we're actually staying in Moscow as opposed to staying in Poland. It's not that far of a drive, as you know. So, all right, the Green River Killer's first victim was discovered by two boys riding their bikes. When was it? The correct answer is B, as in boy, July of 1982. Oh, Carrie, there used to be a place that was like right downtown, right next to the U of I, that used to have fishbowl beers. I don't remember what the name of the place was, but we used to go there and we would get fishbowl beers. And then we used to go to a place that was down off of Main Street, and we'd eat at a place called Sputnik's. And then across the street from there was like a cowboy bar, and we'd go there and we'd hit Moscow, and then we'd go back to Pullman, and then we'd hit the bars downtown. We went to the Coug sometimes, but not all that often. We try to stay away from Greek Row as much as possible because we just weren't into people with no brains. Oh, Reichardt's 3 for 10. He's on the comeback trail. Epic comeback starts right here. All right, next question. Question number 14. Question 14. How many times was Peter Sutcliffe interviewed by police before his arrest? A, 2 times. B, 12 times. C, 6 times. Or D, 9 times. How many times was Peter Sutcliffe interviewed by the police before his arrest? Yep. This is my son's. Minnie Mouse. There's a Minnie Mouse and a Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse is currently residing in his pool in my backyard, and he's got a little wading pool. But I know exactly where Mickey Mouse is, and Minnie Mouse is always in here. There's all kinds of his toys and stuff in here. The garden gnomes. This is a garden gnome. There's one here and there's another one over there. I bought them to put in our yard, but the homeowners association said, no, you will not. You will not put those in your yard. Anyway, I never found a place in the backyard to really put them. Our backyard is pretty much it's not the huge backyard, but about 50% of the backyard is taken up with a humongous like a play toy like you'd find at the playground. It's got a rock wall on it. It's got a slide. It's got a swing set. It's got an actual fort with a thing at the top, one of those fire engine wheels, a telescope, and then there's another one of those like rope ladder things that goes down the other side. It's huge. The thing's probably 20, 25 feet long by about 15 or 20 feet wide. It takes up half the backyard. Then we have a huge patio, hot tub, and then we have the garden. A huge, the garden is above ground beds. Oh. Goofy talks, Pluto doesn't. Both are dogs, right? He goes up there, go up and down like the slide and climb up and go down the slide. He loves the swings. It's got one of those little kids. I don't know what you call it. It kind of looks like a seesaw, but it's on. It's got it's attached at both ends. So I tell him, he gets on there, and I tell him, hold on tight, and he goes, he'll look at me and he'll try to repeat the same thing. His verbal skills are still they're a little bit behind, but he'll say things like tight. So I tell him, hold on tight, and then I give him a little bit of a push, and then he thinks that if he repeats the word tight over and over again, that I'll push him again. So I say, would you like me to do it again? So then he says, again. So cute. Jabberjaws. Hi, y'all. Just stop by for a quick sec. Hope everyone's doing well. Will, you look younger. What's the difference? I don't know. What's the difference? Haircut. Well, take care. I did get a haircut about, 2 weeks ago, I think it was. It's a good thing you guys can't tell the temperature in here. It's hot as heck in here. How many times was Peter Sutcliffe interviewed by police before his arrest? The correct answer is, where is that? Oh, there it is. D as in dog. How many times was Peter Sutcliffe interviewed by police? He was interviewed 9 times before he was actually arrested. My kids and I used to go down the slides at McDonald's on the tray. So much faster. Wow. On the tray? It just sounds dangerous. They don't have, they're used to, like McDonald's and Burger King and all of them, they used to have indoor play areas. Nope. They're all gone from around here. I think it became more of a liability than anything else. At least I don't know of any that have any indoor play areas anymore. You missed that one, Peter? And Sam missed it too. All right. Next question. Question 15. Killer Dean Corll was given what nickname by his neighbors? A, Papa. B, Mr. Flower. C, Mr. Sugar, or D, the Candyman? What nickname did they give Dean Corll? Liability and nasty? Inner peace 9 times. That's how many times Ferris Bueller was absent from school. Excuse me. I have seen the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off 365 times from beginning to end. 365 times. Ask me how I know. Debbie says his mom owned a candy store and he was called the Candy Man. 365 times. Yep, Sam. I watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off 365 times on VHS. RRH, how I know? My mom told me, I bet you can't waste your life enough to watch this for every day of the year. And if you do, I will have this videotape bronzed for you. And somewhere in a box in my basement, I have the original one VHS tape that I'd watched. My mom had it bronzed for me by some. Well, I don't think it's the actual tape itself. I think they made like a casting of it, and then they bronzed that, made it out of bronze. But it actually has a little plaque on it that says, it has my name on it. Wasted almost a year of his life watching this movie 364 times. But I mean, I'd already watched it a bunch of times, so we figured, okay, I needed to watch it every single day, at least once. And some days I would watch it 2 or 3 times, but I did. And they kept a big, huge, like a, what do they call it? It's like that cardboard stuff that you buy at the craft store, poster board. Every time that I would watch it, I had to have somebody there who witnessed it, so that we would put a mark on there, and then they would have to actually write their name over the mark, so it was all accounted for. She always said that I probably broke some kind of stupid Guinness record for doing it, but I did it. Oh yeah, I was going to do it, I was calling her bluff. The real Candyman SOB, who gave his son the pixie sticks to kill him for insurance money, he got death, and someone said trick or treat. Wow. You don't like to repeat movies, Reichart? There's some movies though that I like to watch. I like to watch more than once. There was a classic when I watched it, and The Outsiders. If you ever seen the Outsiders, with Ralph Macchio and she's this whole I'm drawing a blank on in all the entire cast. I mean, but I know Ralph Macchio's in it. But The Outsiders, that was a classic. It still is. I'd watch it again today. And I've probably seen it, maybe at least a dozen times since, the first time I watched it. Read the book. Red Rum. Red Rum. I don't think I've ever. I'm drawing a blank on the Red Rum, but Stand By Me. There's Spaghetti Nona. That's a good one. That's a good. I've probably seen like all the 80s, like what do they call them, coming of age movies, teen movies, like 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink. I've seen those dozens of times. They weren't that great of cinematography wise, but or story wise, but yeah, they're still kind of cute to go back and watch again. Patrick Swayze, yep, he was in it. Ralph Macchio, Matt Dillon was in it. Emilio Estevez was in there. But I always got a kick, I always liked the character of Ponyboy Curtis. So, The Outsiders was just a great movie. Red Rum is Murder Backwards in The Shining. Okay. The Red Rum. I thought that was an actual name of an actual movie. There might be a movie out there by that name. All right, how many times did we already answered this? Number 15, Dean Carroll was given the nickname by his neighbors, and the correct answer to this one is D as in dog. He was nicknamed the Candy Man. And it wasn't just because him and his mother owned a candy store. Him and his mother used to manufacture candy as well. They used to make their own candy. River Phoenix. Yeah, well, River Phoenix was in Stand By Me. All right, question number 16. Albert DeSavo, the Boston Strangler, used what ruse to get his victims? Albert DeSavo used what ruse to get his victims? A, modeling scout. B, a police officer. C, a doctor. Or D, an actor. What ruse did he use? Moments in Train. Finally, one do you know? Hippie Love. Welcome, Hippie Love. Mods. T.S. Jackson 72. Welcome. I hope you and Hippie Love had a terrific weekend. And welcome to the stream. Sounds like B. Barbara Stanley, welcome. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, Barbara. Sorry, I'm reading. I'm trying to read what everybody's answering. 2 in a row. I know. Come back. One play at a time, inch by inch. Moments in trading. Got to start somewhere, right? I mean, we're on question 16. There are 30 questions total. You could still pull this out. Will, bless you for spending time with us every weekend. Oh, thank you, Carrie. I enjoy this. This is just as much fun for me as I hope it is for everybody else. You love Misery, Night Shift, and A Stand. Spaghetti Noah, you're a Stephen King fan? I loved Misery. The Stand, Some of Stephen King's books do get a long-winded. Wow, Tom Cruise was in it too. Was in what? What was he in? Starfire? Misery was the best. Bates, what was her name? One that broke his ankles. Bates something, I can't remember. But I'm your #1 fan. One question too few or too many. You don't quite make it. The inches we need are all around us. The Outsiders. Was Cruise in that? If he was, I'm drawing a blank on it. I can picture, Ralph Macchio, and the older brother. So remember the fight that got in with the preppy kids around the merry-go-round. There's something you won't find in a park anymore. Merry-go-rounds. Who was the kid that had to run away and hide with Ralph Macchio, who bleached his hair blonde? I can picture the scene of them bleaching their hair while they're hiding out. Kathy Bates, thank you, Debbie. All right, what was the ruse that Albert DeSavo used to get his next victims? The correct answer is A, that he was a modeling scout. T.S. Jackson, you missed merry-go-rounds. Yeah, they came and went before my son actually got a chance to experience being flung off at 70 miles an hour. They weren't the safest things in the world, but there's a lot of other things that are in playgrounds that are a lot more dangerous. All right, here we go. Question number 17. What was Dennis Nilsen's dog's name? Dennis Nilsen, the killer from Great Britain, from the UK. What was his dog's name? A, Mute, B, Bleep, C, Champ, or D, Lassie? What was his dog's name? Top Gun, and there's a new one out with Tom Cruise in it. Isn't in it? They're remaking the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It's actually going to follow closer to the actual real book than the previous two. They're also remaking The Princess Bride. I don't know why they want to do that. There's nothing wrong with the original. Well, it's supposed to say Dennis. Dennis Nilsen. The Necktie Killer. No clue of his puppy's name. Please don't hate me if I mispronounce or misspell names in some of these. I've already noticed a couple of mistakes. We only got to the fourth question before we found the first mistake, but Hippie Love is guessing as usual. Cement Shoes is back. I kind of veered off into the 80s movies. LOL, Starfire. Going with Champ. We love you, Will. No worries. Oh, thank you. A little bit of Sandra is going with It Was Bleep. Will, the kid that bleached his hair in The Outsiders with River Phoenix. Was it? I'm I'm picturing Pony Boy Curtis, and I'm like, who is that? I remember one of them. Well, they both cut their hair, and then one of them bleached his hair. The blonde. It's still a great movie, either way. Spaghetti Noma? No, C. C. Thomas Howell. Did I miss somebody? Oh, there it is. Bellatrix. Welcome. Guessing Champ. It was Mute. It has to be Mute. Don't know this killer either. Hippie Love says. Rykart, we think alike. Pony Boy bleached his hair. What was Dennis Nilsen's dog's name? The correct answer is B, as in boy. The dog's name was Bleep. Bleep. He named his dog Bleep. Yeah. Can't make this stuff up sometimes. I don't know why he would name his dog Bleep, but he did. All right. 18. Question 18. How many people go missing in Yosemite National Forest every year? How many people go missing in Yosemite National Forest every year? In case you're not from the United States, you don't know what Yosemite National Forest is. here in the United States, we have national parks. They're owned by and controlled by the federal government for the most part, and they're undeveloped parks and natural resources. And Yosemite National Park is one of the largest national parks that we have. How many people go missing in Yosemite National Forest every year? To the person that replied, yeah, there is over 1,300 page extended version of the stand, and it was really good. 1,300 page extended version. As if it wasn't long enough to begin with the first version. Have you ever read the book about Stephen King on writing, where he admits to a lot of and he still does to this very day. He has hundreds and hundreds of books that he has only written. He's written, they're in rough draft form, or they're beyond that, And he in the book about how to become a writer and about being a writer, he freely admits to doing massive amounts of cocaine in the earlier parts of it, of his career. Wow. I've read The Stand 3 or 4 times since 2020. I wish I had read it all. You hadn't read it at all? Nope. Nope. Well, no, they don't. It's not the U.S. government that tracks the missing people in the Yosemite National Park. This is based on 3 different criteria, but it is not by a federal database. How many people go missing in Yosemite National Forest every year? Based on 3 different databases: recovery, missing persons reports, and the last location, Yosemite National Park, and those who are found deceased later on. How many people are actually, go missing in Yosemite National Forest every year? And obviously, as you can see, the lowest number is 100. 100, 300, 200, or 500. How many people go missing in Yosemite National Forest every year? They say it costs too much money. Yeah. I first read it in the 80s, maybe twice in the 90s, and once around 2005. Stand. Oh, there's a lot of people. And you have to understand, when it comes to like large places like Yosemite National Park, there's a certain percentage of people who just accidentally get lost and confused on how to get back to where they're going, or maybe they thought they were taking a shortcut back to where they are, to where they came from, and they get lost. There's that percentage. Then there's the percentage of people who go missing on purpose in national parks and forests. They're like, hey, I don't care if I find my way out of this alive or not. They just go in anyways. And then there's another percentage of people who have every intention of going into the forest and dying, either suicide or other things. But they have every intention of not coming out alive. And unfortunately, it's true. Just like in Japan, they actually have a place that's called the suicide forest. It's what's commonly known as. It actually has a real name, but it's called the suicide forest. That's where was it Jake and Paul went there and filmed the guy that was hanging from the tree. Logan Paul and Jake Paul, whatever those 2 stupid YouTubers. Cement shoes, you get lost in shopping malls. I'm not messing with Yosemite. If you love 500, so based on reporting. Are you saying just missing persons reports? Then 500. Monachito, these are people that are either they get lost, they're and they get a missing persons reports filed for them. They get lost on purpose, or some way they end up on some kind of list where they have been found missing, or they've been reported missing in Yosemite National Park. No, there isn't a federal database. The federal government doesn't keep records on a lot of things that they could, but they don't. And if you're curious, you can check out the YouTube channel, the 411 the missing or the missing. I used to get a lot of people who ask me, about the content on that channel all the time in my comment section, like, when are you going to make another one about missing people in the forest? And I'm like, never, because I've never done anything like that. But there's a YouTube channel that actually does this, and he's done a really good job on reporting on the missing and the statistics, in the national parks and forests. I haven't checked the channel in a while. I don't know if he's still making content or not, but all right. The correct answer to this one is D as in dog. 500 people go missing, in Yosemite National Park forest every year. 78% of those who are reported missing are found within 5 days. There is a percentage of those who go into the park who are never found at all. Maybe they park their car at a visiting center and they have never been found. According to forest rangers and those who are familiar with the park and hiking areas and trails, they believe that they've gone off someplace away from a major trail, maybe committed suicide, or they fell and died, or it's a lot of tragic ways to die in the national park there. And then animals got a hold of them. Unfortunately, there is bears and cougars and mountain lions, all kinds of things that are there in the national forest that can definitely drag a human being off. Sam, you're on a losing streak. Oh, I'm sorry. Missing 411. Lost and never found. Yep. All right. Moving on. Question number 19. When did Aileen Wuornos marry? Who did Aileen? I can read my own questions right there on the screen. Who did Aileen Wuornos marry? A. Peter Cetera. B. Jason Fell. C. Lewis Fell. Or D. Hank Williams Jr. Who did Aileen marry? Never go alone or without a compass. Is Barry Morphew there? Will, did you hear about the 8-year-old boy with autism from Crater Lake in Oregon? Crater Lake in Oregon. Maybe Carrie? Is he the little boy who got lost and walked like miles and then just showed back up? I'm not sure if you're talking about the same one. Or was he the one that went camping with his family and never came back? Norman Fell. And Hank 3. He was an older gentleman that she married. Quite a bit older, to be exact. Yes, He was Mr. Roper. The boy went missing in 2006, 2008. Maybe not the same one I'm thinking of then. Is Jason and Lewis brothers? Huh? I didn't put the answer choices on the screen. Moments in Train for this one. Who did Aileen Wuornos marry? A, B, C, and D are all there. Or are you talking about the last one? You didn't see it? No. It's still there. At least it's showing on my end. It's still there. I have the answer to that. I don't know how old he was at the time. I want to say he was pretty old. Way older than she was. I have that in one of the books. Well, it might be in this one. I'm gonna see if I can find the answer to that because it was on last week's trivia. All right, hold on. We're doing general tonight. Okay, she was in her early 20s. He was 69 years old when they married. She was in her early 20s. He was 69. So there was like more than 40 years difference between the two of them when they married. Hubby and I went to and a couple friends went to the canyon known as the body dumping and suicide to watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That was scary as fuck. And I almost died. Best way to watch a scary movie. Dior Koontz is from Idaho Falls. Kid that is still missing from the campsite. Yeah, okay, so that's the one I'm thinking of. Dior Koontz. Where everybody says, well, he just went missing. Sammy has autism and still missing from Crater Lake, Oregon. Very sad. One of the very first cases that I did that covered, was about a kid that, who had autism and walked away from, his father. And his father had a medical condition. He couldn't, catch up to him. And when he got spooked, he ran off, and they ended up finding him. He accidentally drowned in a creek. There's no Norman Fell. Too many child murders, says Caroline. It is absolutely true. One child murder is too many. I hope that's not too much noise. I know it's kind of annoying. I mean, I can hear it. It's too annoying, but I hope it's not bothering everyone too much. You can still hear me. Okie dokie, the theme song from Three's Company. Come and knock on the door. Knock on the door. We've been waiting for you. We've been waiting for you. Yes, three's company do. Okay, let's see. We are on question number 19. The correct answer for this one is C. Louis Greatsfell is his full name. Who did Aileen Wuornos marry? She married Louis Greatsfell. All right, question number 20. Robert Vesco was wanted for securities fraud in America. He was arrested in Cuba and given a sentence of how long? In case, might be an older case that you may not remember who Robert Vesco is. But Robert Vesco, how long of a sentence was he given in Cuba? 10 years, 13 years, 5 years, or 1 year? Robert Vesco. Nikki P, welcome. Jared, COVID lockdown and children being at home more with bad parents is not helping. No, it's not, Nikki. It's not at all. I hope you had a great weekend, Nikki. Welcome to the trivia night. There's some D's, some A's, some B's. What year range was this, Caroline? I didn't write that down. I wrote down the total trivia question, which was a heck of a lot longer from the trivia source that I wrote it down from. The entire thing was Robert Vesco was wanted in the United States for securities fraud. He fled to several Caribbean countries. While in Cuba, he was arrested and sentenced to how long for fraud and illicit economic activities was the actual crime that he was arrested for. How long was his actual sentence? And then those are the options: 10 years, 13, 5 years, or 1 on the actual trivia question. But I remember him because of in the 1980s, there was a gentleman by the name of Michael Milken, who was the king of junk bonds. And Robert Vesco and Michael Milken were kind of like two peas in a pod, so to speak. They both had a lot. They ran in kind of like the same circles, and they ran kind of like the same schemes in fraud, together, securities fraud. But I've always been interested in Michael Milken's story. So he came up while actually I was reading about Michael Milken. That's how I came across the case itself and the answer. B, 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 A, C. Okie dokie is going with C. Robert Vesco. How long of a sentence did he have to serve in Cuba? The correct answer is B, as in boy. He was given a sentence of 13 years in Cuba. And trust me, ladies and gentlemen, if you've read anything about Cuba, you don't want to spend time in prison in Cuba. If you think the country is seeing some serious, setbacks, economically and for living standards, well, Cuba, as a prison system, not so great. All right, moving on. Question number 21. William Strand, the Birdman of Alcatraz, How many birds did he keep while in Alcatraz from 1942 to 1959? A, no birds. B, 10 birds. C, 20 birds. Or D, 30 birds. The Birdman of Alcatraz, as he is known, is why I put it like that. He is known as the Birdman of Alcatraz. In just about every movie, including even the movie with Clint Eastwood, he was featured in the movie as well on Alcatraz. William Strand, the Birdman of Alcatraz. He actually received an honorary degree in ornithology, the study of birds. He knew an awful lot about birds. But how many birds did he keep with him while in prison in Alcatraz? Birdology. I think it's called ornithology or ornithology. But he knew an awful lot, and he was actually given an honorary degree in that field for his knowledge and study of birds. RRH is going with none. He's going with 10 to 21. Yeah. 1942 to 1959, he was incarcerated at Alcatraz Penitentiary. Alcatraz Penitentiary, in case you're not aware of it, is a prison that used to be it used to be in use, but it's on Alcatraz Island, and it sits off of the coast of California near San Francisco. RRH, good night, everybody. Good night, RRH. Thank you for stopping in and playing trivia with us tonight. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. He's not a guy that flies. It has to be none. Okie dokie is going with A. Clint Eastwood. Yep, Clint Eastwood played in the movie about the escape from, I can't remember if it was Alcatraz or whatever the hell the name of the movie was, but he played one of the brothers that that escaped. They never did find. Now, years later, they do believe that now that there was a likelihood that at least two of the people who escaped from Alcatraz did survive, but they haven't been able to prove it. Beyond the preponderance of the evidence. So. None. He had the birds prior to Alcatraz in New York jail, if I remember correctly. Moments in trading. We will see in just a minute here. Moments in trading. William Strand, the Birdman of Alcatraz, spent most of his adult life in prison. I didn't do anything, okie dokie. Not anything here. William Strand, the Birdman of Alcatraz. How many birds did he have with him when he served in prison from 1942 to 1959 in Alcatraz? The correct answer is A. He had no birds with him in the prison there at Alcatraz. He was not allowed to have birds with him while he served his prison sentence. But he had an awful lot of books on birds. He studied them and he read the books that, and everything about birds constantly. And that's why he got the nickname Bird from Alcatraz. In some movies, they've played loosely on that he supposedly kept, little finches, birds, but nope. At Alcatraz, he was not allowed to have any birds at all. He flew out of prison. He was in solitary confinement for over 40 years. I'm not spaghetti Nona. I'm not entirely familiar with this entire prison sentence, or sentences, I should say, because he did spend the majority of his adult life in one prison or another. He wasn't a very good criminal by any means at all. Okay. I thought he had them at Leavenworth. T.S. Jackson, I do believe he did serve time in Leavenworth Penitentiary. I do believe you are right there. I don't know, but Burt Lancaster played him. Barbara Stanley says. All right. Question number 22. O.J. Simpson played football. American game of football, not the British version of football. Football for the Buffalo Bills from 1969 to 1977. Who did he play for in 1978? Seahawks, B, the Raiders, C, 49ers, or D, the Jets? Mr. Frosty. Oh, now, give me a shout out. Mr. Frosty wins money. Mr. Frosty wins money. I hope you had a great weekend, Mr. Frosty. Gianna Marie, night, Will. You have a great week ahead, Gianna. Thank you for stopping in. California Penal. O.J. Simpson played football for the Buffalo Bills from 1969 to 1977. Who did he play for in 1978? Oh, thank you, Mr. Frosty. So you killed a guard at Leavenworth, and that's why he was sent to Alcatraz? I knew that. I was pretty sure he served time at Leavenworth, but I wasn't sure what his prison sentence, why he got sent to prison, or what he did. But I know he wasn't a very good criminal, because I was looking at his actual all the different times that he had been in jail or prison or and everything else, and he'd get out and he'd go right back. He'd never spent much time out in the free world, in the general population out here outside of prison. He was always getting locked up again. The Benny and the Jets. Benny and the Jets. Wow, that's a song I haven't heard in a long time. O.J. Simpson. A lot of people forget that he actually played for this team. He was the iconic. Everybody pictures him. Those who are in the sports picture him playing for Buffalo, and being a Heisman Trophy winner. But who did he play for in 1978? Raiders, and definitely not the Seahawks. Benny and the Jets. Talk about a musical artist who was definitely reinvented himself quite a few times in his career. He has definitely done that. Why, it's C, of course, was 10 years before I was born, so I have no clue. It's a crying shame. Welcome to the trivia night. It's a crying shame. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. O.J. Simpson played for the Buffalo Bills from 1969 to 1977. What team did he play for in 1978? The correct answer is the 49ers. He played for the 49ers for 1 year, 1978 through 1979. And that's it. So the correct answer is C as in cat. He played for the 49ers. I mean, the answer should be the Raiders or the Patriots. They hire all the criminals. Ooh. Yeah, it's true. But the Raiders definitely have a long, storied history with, hiring, and having team players on their team that committed some horrific crimes. All right, question number 23. Gangster Bugsy Siegel was the driving force behind the building of Las Vegas, Nevada. What was his real first name? What is Bugsy Siegel's real first name? A, David, B, Dom, C, Benjamin, or D, Benny? What is Bugsy Siegel's real first name? Schmieda. Schmieda fam. I mean, he took a jet to the 49ers. Crying Shame's going with Dom. Carrie's going with Benjamin. Interpiece is going with Bugs Bunny. Vicky Evans is going. Welcome to the stream, Vicky. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Vicky Evans is going with C. Benjamin sounds like it would make sense. My husband says it's Jewish. Jet's mom, welcome to the stream, Jet's mom. And yes, Bugsy Siegel's parents were definitely Jewish. Not so much Bugsy Siegel, but his parents were. His father was actually an Orthodox Jew, Orthodox Jewish. Just wanted to, one big hand. Thank you, Schmieda. Are you playing online poker right now, Mr. Frosty? Yeehaw. But Benjamin can be Benny. Well, it could be. You are? That's cool. I hope you have good luck, Mr. Frosty. But Benjamin can be Benny. I guess it could technically be, you could have Benjamin, could be Benny, Benjamin, a lot of different things. I mean, I don't understand how they get nicknames from certain names. I mean, how do you get Dick from Robert? Excuse me. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I think it has to be, popular, or somebody just says, yeah, your nickname is that, and then it catches on, and other people are then given that nickname. I don't know. Because I like to get nice and messed up as I play. That's cool. My son's Bennett is called Benny. Dick is for Richard. You asked Robert nicely for it. All right. So the correct answer to number 23 is his real first name was C as in cat, Benjamin. Hippie Love, yes, it was C. Benjamin was his first name. All right, next one. Question number 24. James Earl Ray, the killer of Dr. King, fled the location after shooting Martin Luther King. How long did it take the police to catch him? A, 2 hours, B, 1 week, C, 2 days, or D, 2 weeks. How long did it take the police to catch James Earl Ray after killing Martin Luther King? Hippie Love's got 3 right and a whole bunch wrong. A post-apocalyptic hideout with 411 now. Come over and hide out in my bunker. Benny and the Jets. Richards are dicks. How long did it take the police to catch James Earl Ray? They scanned for people with 3 names. That's funny, Mr. Crofty. See, my son technically has 4. His middle name is hyphenated. He's got two names, but it's hyphenated. Benson was named Richard. Some of his friends called him Dick. I love Dick Van Dyke, so I actually like the name. I like watching some of the older Dick Van Dyke show. It was a good show. How long did it take the police to catch James Earl Ray after killing Martin Luther King? The correct answer is C, as in cat. Took 2 days. C is the correct answer. And how long it took them to catch him. All right, next question. Number 25. Lee Harvey Oswald. How long was he in custody before Jack Ruby shot and killed him? How long was Lee Harvey Oswald in custody before Jack Ruby shot and killed him? A, 2 hours, B, 1 week, C, 2 days, or D, 2 weeks. How long was he in custody for? I'm changing my name to Joe Allen Schmo. Dick Van Dyke, is he still alive? He's almost 100? Wow, I didn't know. I'm going to say 2 days again, so C. Okie dokie. A, good question mark. C, Dick Van Dyke is 95. Wow. Just think of how many other, popular comedians and actors out there that he's outlived. Well, I think you look younger without your cap. Well, thank you, Carrie. I appreciate it. Oh, but before we go and we end this, next weekend we're gonna do trivia. We're still gonna do the Saturday morning stream, and I'll still do trivia. But it is Father's Day weekend, and we are going to have a special stream on Sunday. So same time, same questions, same. They'll be up on the screen, but they're going to be, instead of it being on an individual, it's going to be all father-related questions. Every one of the questions on next Sunday's stream, all are fathers of have children. So each and every one of the people on that list of the 30 questions have all had families. So that's next Sunday. Father's Day. Yep. It's Father's Day weekend, and we are going to I'm kind of trying to tie the two of them together. Father's Day and everything else. So all of the people on next week's trivia, all are fathers of, they have children of their own. So probably because Dick Van Dyke was always happy. Happy makes long life. There's probably a lot to that okie dokie. People who I know a lot of people who are just miserable and angry about everything, and they're not around anymore. And there's probably something to that. The stress and the anger and built up resentment that people have and they keep inside themselves. It probably takes a lot of years off your life. So there's probably something really to that. One thing that strikes me about the Ruby hit. Got to go read Shogun with your boys. See you all later. Good night, T.S. Jackson 72, and I hope you have a terrific week ahead. Shogun. Probably different from the Shogun I'm thinking of. The gun he used is perfect tool for that situation. Hammerless 38. Yeah, it was. Right? It makes you kind of wonder, like, why did Jack Ruby do it in the first place? All right. So Lee Harvey Oswald, how long was he in custody before Jack Ruby shot him? The correct answer is C, as in cat. He was in custody for 2 days. 2 days. And they didn't have to lead him out through the garage to at all. That there were so many things about that they did that it was just kind of like, what? Makes you wonder. But I'm sure that it's hindsight's 2020, right? Sure, if they had to do it over again, they'd probably do differently. All right. Next one. Question number 26 is on Charlie Manson. Charles Manson was said to be good friends with which Beach Boy founding member? It wasn't true, that they were good friends, but who was it? Who was he supposed to be good friends with? Charles Manson was said to be good friends with which Beach Boy founding member? It wasn't true, but who was it? A, Wilson Davis. B, Brian Wilson. C, Mark Dennis. Or D, Dennis Wilson. Who did Charlie say he was good friends with? Purple. Good night, Pretty Wicked. Gonna make some strawberry shortcake. Ooh, that sounds good. I wish I had some strawberry shortcake. My mother-in-law made me macaroons. I have a whole big, plastic tub in the house full of macaroons. I haven't had any yet. Been out here pretty much all day. Okie dokie. Yes, great memories of my parents, especially mom. Well, you have a wonderful week ahead, pretty wicked. thank you again for coming in, stopping in and playing tonight. Love the Beach Boys, but I'm guessing D. Spaghetti No, you jealous? No, if kind of think of it more of like an exchange. So tonight my mother-in-law had roasted pork loin with a cherry demi-glaze, roasted carrots, and roasted potatoes with sage and rosemary wine. So we made her dinner, and then she made me macaroons, and she made a vegetarian lasagna for my daughter. So, do you think Manson's victims deserved it? Damon? No, I don't, Damon. But welcome, Damon. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Charles Manson was said to be good friends with which of the founding members of the Beach Boys? Wilson Davis, Brian Wilson, Mark Dennis, or Dennis Wilson? Marilyn Manson. The correct answer to this one is D, as in dog. Dennis Wilson. He said that he was good friends with Dennis Wilson. They were no more than acquaintances at best. But Charlie always wanted to play everything up and say that, you know, this person was my friend, or this person was there for me. You know, he always talked himself up to more than he ever was. All Charles Manson ever really was a two-bit, you know, criminal who was able, with, you know, enough drugs and enough, convincing, he was able to talk people in and convince them of something that really wasn't going to happen. And that's how he got them to commit the Tate murders. It's a crying shame you're on a roll. Yeah. All right, next question. Number 27. Bernard Bernie Madoff was given what sentence for his crimes? Bernard Bernie Madoff. You know, what people more commonly know him as Bernie Madoff, and his Ponzi scheme. How many years was he given as his sentence for his crimes? A, 100 years. B, 150 years. C, 200 years. Or D, 250 years. Bernie Madoff was given what sentence for his crimes? He was, hippie love. He was. And Scott Sharp. What about Scott? Spaghetti Nona is going with 150. 150 seems to be a popular answer. Reichardt's going with 150 because he's copying everybody. Bernie Madoff was a great investor, making like 10% every year, every year, even in bad markets. Right, Damon? And that was the part of the guy who was trying to blow the whistle on him for years. He was trying to say, it's like there's no way he is able to beat the market this consistently over and over again. And then he started looking into some of his offerings and stuff like that. And it's like, it just didn't make sense on paper at all, everywhere, anywhere. But, you know, some people got in and some people are still getting paid. He was paying people off with the money that was coming from the new investors along the way. So the older investors were still getting paid. So people weren't, you know, getting too, you know, close to, you know, or looking at his books. He ruined people's lives and all their savings. Such a sad story. Hey, Hippie Love, did you change your icon on YouTube? I've seen that before. I don't know if that's where you took it and then put it as your icon. I saw something over on Martin's channel about that. You did. I saw Martin post something about changing your icon until we get rid of a certain person and stopping, you know, all the you know, the shit that he's doing. Damon, that's my picture. That's you. Well, Deb, it all depends on I'll just give you an example from mine. If for, you know, you go to the upper right hand corner top, you'll see a little icon in the top there next to so on mine you have, like, you have the address bar where you type in a web address. You go all the way over to the far, you'll see 3 dots. Back up just before that, you should see, like, you know, the D that you see right now is your icon. If you click on that, that should bring up, you know, if you have Google, you know, and you can change it from there. When it brings it up again, you just click on the actual icon itself, and you can change it there. That's a really simplified version of how to do it. There's an interview with Bernie during the final crisis where he states that he had no exposure to subprime. He then does one of those smile experts say, show that they are hiding something. Went to Google in the UK wearing those shirts. YT enables victim abuse. Yeah. Well, Martin Dehan had it on. He posted it on his channel about changing your icon to it. I have my my sash around here somewhere. I think it's over there on the shelf for cancer survivors, for breast cancer survivors. Walk every year. Me and my wife do the walk for breast cancer. Purple sash is a breast cancer survivor, and I've got all the pins on it from each and every year that we do the charity event. We raise money by, you know, and we get pledges per time around, you know, laps around the track. Last time we did it for 13 hours. We walked, but you can do it as a team, or you can do it as individuals. We do it through our local Moose Lodge, and it's community awareness. Well, Mike Brown used to tease me so much over my eyes. I miss him. And Brandy, LOL. Mike's been around. And I'm sure, you know, Hippie Love, if he was picking on you about anything, it was in good humor. I don't think Mike has, you know, he doesn't mean to to do anything on purpose to hurt anyone's feelings. All right. So Bernie Madoff was given a sentence of 150 years. The correct answer is B. Another gangster question. Mobster question. Charles Lucky Luciano, the mobster and hitman, dropped out of school at the age of 14. What was his first job for the mob? A bookmaker, B, collecting debts, C, delivering new hats, or D, a killer. What was Charles Lucky Luciano's first job with the mob? Hippie Love, I haven't seen him tonight. Oh, it's all good fun. Okay, as long as you didn't take offense to it. Him and Brandy are good people. I like I follow Brandy's channel along with Mike. Mike, I think, finally posted a new video like last week or the week before. He just finally, it's been a long time since he posted anything. But I subscribe to both their channels. Yeah. Right, Cart, you're a copycat like Lucky Luciano with his Tommy gun. You're older than me, but your ears are younger. Yeah, but that was his last video, most recent video, I guess. Charles Lucky Luciano, the mobster and hitman, dropped out of school at the age of 14. What was his first job for the mob? The correct answer to this one, Charles Lucky Luciano's first job for the mob, is C. Yeah. Charles Lucky Luciano, at the age of 14, used to deliver hats to mobsters. That was his job. He didn't work for the store that actually made the hats. He would take their hats, and his job was to bring them to that business to be cleaned or to be altered or fixed. And then he would bring them back to them. And he also delivered brand new hats to the mobsters. That was his first job. So C is the correct answer. C. All right. Question 29. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, in case you don't remember who he is, went to Harvard to study math. What was his paid job in the psychology department? What was Ted Kaczynski's paid job in the psychology department? A, testing LSD. B, psychological torture. C, shortwave radio on the brain. Or D, reverse psychology. What was the Unabomber's paid job in the psychology department at Harvard University? You taking off, Inner Peas? Good night, sweetheart. I hope you have a wonderful day. The rest of the week ahead. Thank you for stopping in and playing trivia with us tonight. Damon? Yeah, he's a very good guy. Even by his brother was who turned him in to the FBI. But even his brother and all his friends who were around, they all believed that deep down inside, Ted Kaczynski was a great guy. He just got fixated on this kick about technology and companies having too much influence in the world that we live in, and it really pissed him off when he moved and built that tiny little cabin in the middle of nowhere, and the airplanes started flying over his home every single day, and that just drove him bonkers. He went from being pissed off, according to his brother, to extreme rage over the entire thing, that they changed the pattern so the planes were flying directly over his little cabin. And they saw that technology was encroaching on everyone's life. But take all that, and now the answer to this actual question, if you think about the entire thing, put it all in perspective. So Ted Kaczynski went to Harvard to study mathematics. And by the way, he graduated high school 3 years early and before he entered into Harvard. And he was given a full ride scholarship to Harvard. What was his paid job in the psychology department? The job that he was paid, he was a lab rat of sorts. He was psychological torture. B is the correct answer. He took part in studies where every day for weeks and weeks on end, and then they would take 2 weeks off, but then they would go for another 3 weeks, where he would go into the psychology department and they would sit and scream at him and belittle him and tell him that he was worthless, and then repeat this entire thing over and over again. And they were trying to see what the long-term effects upon somebody who went through psychological torture like that would be. And they say it was to find out what veterans, those who were prisoners of war, would go through, but it wasn't. There's a lot of information out there that it might have been part of a program like MK Ultra or something like that, but a lot of that is speculation. It hasn't been really proven. But he was psychologically tortured, during that entire time, and he was paid. He was paid well for it, but otherwise, as a student, he was broke. Now, but you take that and you put that all in the context. Brilliant mind, most likely had some, didn't fit in. I mean, he's 15 years old and he's at Harvard University. He's younger, way younger than the other freshmen coming in. And he's not going to fit in with the freshman class, and he's already kind of an oddball. He's a math wizard, and well, nobody else that he knows is. You add it all together, and it was just a storm, of things. And then he went through all that on top of it. But most people think that he would, say that he was a nice man. All right. Last question for the night, ladies and gentlemen. Janis Joplin once spent $6,000 on what in one day? One day. What did Janis Joplin once spend $6,000 in one day on? A, peanut butter cups. B, booze. C, shoes. Or D, illegal drugs? What did Janis Joplin once spend $6,000 on in one day? Mo Missing Trading is going with heroin, cocaine, booze, lot of D's. Tora Michelle, welcome. This is the last question of the trivia for tonight, but you can go back and watch it and rewind if you want to, hear the answer. See the questions are now on the screen along with me reading them. I hope you had a wonderful weekend, though, and hope you have a terrific week ahead. But who needs drugs when you can buy shoes? It can be an addiction to some people. After this is over, call me, Will. I want to talk to someone as famous as you tonight. I'd love to, Mr. Frosty. But after this is over with, I'm going to bed. And I have to get up and see, it's 10 o'clock here now. Oh, well, it's almost 10 o'clock. I have to be up at 5 a.m. So $6,000 in Southern Comfort. That would be really a lot of shoes in those days. But watch it be that answer. Moments in trading. Yeah, it'd be a lot of money. In the 70s, $6,000. I don't think Jimmy Choo was around back then. But you could spend $6,000 on, a pair of Jimmy Choos in a heartbeat. No problem at all. Janis Joplin once spent $6,000 on what in one day? Mama Cass was A. Peanut butter cups. It's 20 to 12 here in Iowa. Sarah, welcome. Well, thank you, Sarah. I appreciate it, and I hope you have a great week ahead. If you want to check the trivia questions out and rewind, something new that I'm doing now every weekend is I'm now having the question and the options on the screen. So you can put it on mute, and follow along and see if you can figure out the answer to the 30 questions. Sorry, 30. All right, Janis Joplin once spent $6,000 on what in one day? The correct answer is B, as in boy, on booze. Yeah, a lot of people would have guessed D, drugs, but she probably did that without even thinking about it, and probably on more than one day. But she spent it all on booze. It was to celebrate her signing of her record contract. She got it in advance that day for $13,300 and promptly spent $6,000 of it on booze to celebrate signing her record contract. Yeah. She may have had a problem. But she spent $6,000 on booze in one day, the day she signed her record contract. Go back to the beginning of this. Write down this has been done. Otherwise, I forget, because I've got 5 or 6 of these that are already in the notebook. I hope we all had fun tonight. I hope you enjoyed and you like the way that it's on the screen here. I'll take a little bit extra time next time and make sure I don't have any spelling errors, that was mainly it tonight, right? Lasso. I misspelled that word. Had it as also and missing a letter. But good night, Sarah. Thank you again for stopping in. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I hope you all had fun tonight. And I don't know why it's showing that one. I said hide. Don't know why it showed question number one again. But again, next Sunday is a little bit different. Instead of it being on one individual, all 30 questions are on men who had children themselves. So, and like kind of like mixing the two. It's Father's Day weekend, and it's also trivia night. So putting them both together. But in between now and then, I hope that everyone has a wonderful night. And thank you again for being here. You all stay safe out there. And until next time.